Hi friends, welcome back to the Finance Scribble. This is the second of many FI case study videos. I started this series with our own FI number. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it down below, so make sure you go check it out. Today's video is hypothetical and is of a made-up family living in Austin, Texas. But this could still be helpful and relevant to you if you are in a similar situation. Make sure you subscribe and come back weekly for new videos. Let me introduce you to Alex and Ryan. They are a married couple living in Austin, Texas. Alex grew up in Austin and met Ryan, who moved there 5 years ago. They own their own home and have a 3-year-old kid and one very cute doggy. Alex is 38 and Ryan is 40, both working in healthcare. They make a combined household income of $205,000 and estimate the annual raise will be around 4%. Their annual expenses are around $95,000, which includes daycare for their daughter. They have a total of $324,000 in their retirement accounts and $115,000 in other investments, bringing their total invested amount to $439,000. Each month, they invest 85% of savings that's left after all expenses are accounted for. Okay, let's get started calculating Alex and Ryan's FI number. This is a spreadsheet that I built to calculate FI number. And to get started, I can kind of orient us to what is on this spreadsheet. And we'll start with the rate of return, which is 7%, and that's pretty average. And then we have our inflation, which is at 3%. And I know it has been higher over the last couple of years, but 3% is pretty standard for a long period of time. Their total invested asset is $439,000, like we said before, so we'll input that here. Their estimated annual raise is 4%. And then the percent of savings invested for them is at 85%. And then their annual expenses, like we talked about before, is $95,000. So we'll put that in here. And then their mortgage is estimated around $3,500 per month, which is $42,000 per year. Now let's move below and we can start talking about what we have here. We can start with the year. And then we also have the calendar year starting at 2023. And then we have their annual salary. And then we also calculate their take-home salary as well, which subtracts about 30% for taxes, 401k deductions, healthcare, all of that. It's definitely an estimate, but it's a good start. We also have their inflation impacted expenses, and then no inflation expenses, which is mortgage, and then we add the two up to get their total annual expenses. And then we have their annual savings, which is their take-home pay subtracted by the annual expenses, and then their annual invested is 85% of their savings. Their total invested is taking the annual invested, add it to their current invested assets, increase it by 7% rate of return to get their total invested amount. And then the 4% withdrawal is withdrawing 4% of their total invested account to get that number. And then we have our Find FI column, which is essentially looking for where annual expenses is equal or almost equal to the 4% withdrawal that they can have on their total invested amount. And what we're looking for is 1.0, which is a 1-to-1 ratio, so that annual expenses about equal 4%. So let's start inputting numbers. Their annual salary is $205,000, which we get their take-home salary. Their annual expenses impacted by inflation is just whatever's left after the $42,000 is removed, and so that is $53,000. And like we said, the non-inflation expenses is $42,000 for the mortgage. And as you can see, these numbers are starting to populate. We can see that their annual savings is $48,500. Annual invested is $41,000. Total invested is about $513,000. And so we can start kind of populating this spreadsheet to see all of our numbers. What's nice about this is we can kind of just click and drag, and all of the numbers and formulas will do the work for us, and we don't have to calculate it ourselves. We would be able to see all of the numbers and find the phi column where it equals 1.0. As you can see, 1.0 is there, and you can see that that is telling us that in about 15 years, in 2037, their total annual expenses is $116,000, and then 4% withdrawal is $120,000, which is telling us that they have enough to cover their expenses in 2037 with a total invested amount of $3 million. And so this is Alex and Ryan's phi number, about $3 million invested. And of course, this doesn't account for significant job change with the salary increase, and if there's additional expenses more than the $95,000, any of that is not reflected here. This is very kind of the basics and benchmarks that they can take and be able to adjust year over year if things shift. But this is a great number to achieve and to be able to set a goal for Alex and Ryan, and a good place to start. All right, so Alex and Ryan, you need $3 million invested in order to reach financial independence. According to my calculations, this should be possible in 15 years by 2037 if nothing changes. That's it for today. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and come back weekly for new videos. Thanks for watching. Happy scribbling. Bye.